The Twin Towers morning was ordinary until it wasn't. A blue September sky like clean glass. Coffee cooling on desks. Elevators rising with the soft confidence of routine. Then a line of silver that refused the script. A flash that turned windows into mirrors for fire. Paper snow beginning in a season that was not winter. We watched disbelief acquire a second angle. 17 minutes became the measure of shock. Newscasters grew quiet and then ran out of synonyms. Sirens braided themselves into a single endless note. Shoes appeared on bridges, abandoned mid-escape, heels and laces pointing east like tiny compasses. Inside the stairwells, the air kept changing its mind. Up meant duty, down meant hope. Radio stuttered, hands found hands on rails hot with hurry. On the plaza, a wind of ash made strangers recognizable. Names clung to throat and smoke. Time forgot how to move forward, then jumped. By noon the skyline had learned subtraction. Two became none in a choreography of gravity and grief, steel folding like a book closed too fast. Later, as the sun slanted, another building bowed to dust, quietly, as if finishing a sentence no one heard begin. Evening fell and the city kept glowing from the inside, like a lantern set in rubble. For days the sky wore a stillness no one had ordered. Birdless, planes exiled. The air itself on pause. Fences grew faces, photocopies of hope, candles in jelly jars, rosaries, ribbons, phone numbers, please. A bulletin board the size of a city. Smoke became a calendar. Breath learned caution. In living rooms, classrooms, bars gone silent, we learned new words and old fears. Homeland, alert, anthrax, forever war. We learned how flags can mean comfort and consent at once. A briefcase of laws snapped open with practiced hinges. Pages that had been waiting for a reason got their reason. Maps were unrolled, lines drawn, sand named. Elsewhere, a hole in a long wall and a handful of frames blinked past too fast to convince anyone of anything. Elsewhere, corridors with carpets the color of authority lost track of pings and planes and protocols. Memos surfaced that read like premonitions. Phones rang where no one expected phones to ring. Markets twitched like living things sensing weather. Numbers did their work. Options, casualties, chapters, votes. A date became a dial tone 911, and once you heard it you could not unhear it. Warnings sounded like whispers in hindsight. Training became reality on the wrong morning. Coincidence got a new suit and a clean shave. The city kept burying the day in a slow ritual of ink. Names read aloud into open air each year, the alphabet softened by wind and weeping. Boots returned coated in foreign dust. Empty chairs multiplied around kitchen tables. Folded triangles of cloth learned how to hold silence. Airports turned into catechisms. Shoes off, belts off, bottles small, laptops bare. Keys in a dish sounded like rain. We rehearsed patience beneath fluorescent mercy. Children born that week grew into adults who know the story by the shape of its absences. In bedrooms, in buses, in the private weather of thought, questions pressed their fingers to the glass. How does a sky so watched go blind by accident? Why did time keep choosing symmetry? Who tidied the narrative while the smoke still spoke? Which hands turned grief into leverage with such speed? None of it undoes a single footstep on a stair, a single call that went to voicemail, a single badge, ring, photo, laugh. None of it lessens the courage that climbed or the mercy that stayed when staying meant staying forever. But the day keeps echoing and echoes. So we carry both weights, the ash of certainty and the ember of doubt. We keep the skyline in our pockets, folded into a map of before. We light the names again and again, not to see better, but to promise not to look away. Between siren and speech, between headline and prayer, a vow survives. To remember the morning, to honor the falling, to question the silence.